Any questions from the tape, from the lecture on imagination, the only creative factor?
In the lecture tape, Dr. George King mentioned using Mudra Yoga to like enhance visualization. How do you, what is Mudra Yoga and how do you use it to enhance it?
Mudra Yoga is the yoga of hand signs. Okay? And Mudra Yoga actually comes from mantra yoga. Okay? It is from deep practice and study of mantra yoga that you're giving that Mudra Yoga comes to you. Okay? So, and Mudra Yoga is a way to redirect, redistribute, and potentize the pranic power within the body. Okay? So the number one thing you do with Mudra Yoga is you seal the energy in the body, you redirect the energy in the body, and you redistribute the energy in the body in a concentrated manner to bring about the results that you want. That's what Mudra Yoga actually do. Okay? It's the same way when we pray, that's a form of Mudra Yoga. When we raise our hands up like this, what it does, it restricts the flow of prana and it activates the heart chakra. And when it activates the heart chakra, it pushes the prana it pushes the prana up to that level and pushes it out through the palms of the hands, because why? We have our hands open. All right? So all the power down here moves up and push out, and then with our visualization, we direct the prana. Okay? And Mudra Yoga helps you direct prana through the body. And your body becomes an instrument, a tool, through imagination, visualization, and Mudra Yoga. All right. Any other questions? Anyone here to take?
He also said that by practicing the 12 blessings from 3 to 4 a.m., you can.
So he was responding.
That was the
he was responding to a question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Someone was saying they get interference around that time.
Yeah,
So I'm going to give it 12 lessons.
Yeah, it was like
Protect
really
themselves.
specific.
Yeah, after the lecture in the Q&A, he was answering a question, and his answer was to practice 12 blessings to get rid of a negative.
Now the question was the person's getting interference between 3 and 4 a.m. and 3 and 4 p.m. And they're asking how can they defend themselves against the interference. And he recommended doing the 12 lessons during that time.
But he also said if the entity is coming at the same time every day, then that's not a very advanced entity. Right? So that's all he was. He was just giving them a way to put a shield up around themselves. Because that's what the 12 lesson does. It creates a tremendous barrier of energy. You know, the 12 lesson does.
Would it be a good idea to practice that before you go to sleep, even if it's not around this time?
What, the 12 lesson?
Yeah, so you won't have nightmares.
Yeah, if you want. I mean, you have a nightmare.
I mean, I have a very weird dreams.
You know.
It could be nightmarish sometimes.
Yeah, that's one way. And another way is chant mantra, do affirmation, and do deep breathing before you go to bed.
affirmation.
Yeah. You never heard of affirmations?
Like affirm yourself, like recite something.
Well, it can be all different types of affirmations. Dr. King talks about a couple of them, and he gives them inside his Contact Your Higher Self through yoga. There's affirmations that you say after every pranayama exercise. That's an affirmation. All right.
Like I am perfection, creating perfection.
Something like that. Yeah. Or I'm now purifying my mind and body with the mighty power of God. You know, something like that. Or day by day in every way, I'm getting better, better, and better. Those are affirmations. All right. And if you repeat those affirmations just before you go to bed for at least 10 to 15 minutes, your subconscious mind will repeat those same affirmations probably for 3-4 hours after you sleep, which will kind of like change the auric field or the auric matrix of your body. So you won't be led into weird and wonderful dreams and exploration on the astral planes. Any other questions?
Briefly, towards the end of the video, the lecture, Dr. King mentioned faith and the role that it plays in visualization. Then he also said something, he said faith is very important. He said, first, faith in the right teacher, the right master, and then faith in your visualization. What did he mean by that, in the sense of a right master? Like, how do you have faith in a master?
Well, that's one of the keys to learning. If you have a teacher or a master or adept or whoever, you know, if you don't have faith in them, then you're not going to learn. In the sense that we're taught as mystics that when you find a teacher, master, or adept, or guru, whatever you want to call them, you have to have faith that what they're telling you is correct, and that you have to have faith more than anything that they are closer to the source than what you are. And by having that faith, it kind of links you with that person, and you can pull more information from them, more knowledge and understanding from them. You know, faith is a vessel. Okay, that's what faith really is. It's a vessel that creates some type of link with that thing that you're placing the faith in. All right? That's a mystic meaning for faith. Any other questions? So everybody understand this imagination thing?
Kind of.
I mean, what do you get out of it? If you listen to the tape, what do you get out of it? What's the main points you got out of it?
I mean, last time I heard it, I've heard it like twice, I just didn't hear it today. Both times I heard it, the most I got out of it was that everything around us is a creation that came from within us through our imagination. Nothing in our level of existence exists without our creative faculty. Even down to the thoughts that you can't control, even that is creating something in your life, and that comes from you, it comes from your imagination. That's the last thing I remember getting from it.
Who
Not
else?
really a question, it's a statement. But
Who else? I'm just asking for statements. Who else heard it, and what did they get out of it?
Well, he was also saying faith isn't like a blind thing. Like it can't be like I believe Jesus, so it's gonna work. Like it has to be faith in the creative process for it
specifically imagination, what do you get out of it, out of the lecture itself? You heard the whole lecture?
Most of it. But he was also talking of the techniques like the white and violet flame, different, and bringing in negative thoughts to your solar plexus chakra, giving it white flames before, like if you let a bad thought come and go out, it's like a tangible thing.
And imagination, it's a tool, right? It's a tool of your mind. So, I mean, there's different levels to creation. You first visualize it, you create it in the mental realms. Once you visualize it and you plan it out in your head, you can put it on paper, which is manifesting it somewhere physically on paper. You know, there's more to imagination than just what's in your head. This chair is a product of imagination. This was in somebody's mind substance once. He assembled everything in his head. He was able to draw the resources in the physical to create that. And that's what imagination is. It's many levels to it. I don't know, I'm missing it.
Okay, that's it? Anybody else want to add anything?
I haven't listened to it recently, but I think imagination is linked to visualization as well. So I remember getting that really last time.
Okay. Let's see if we can help everybody. Imagination is your only creative faculty. All right? The soul uses imagination in order to bring you into being. Okay? In order to bring all the bodies, the soul uses imaginations to do what? To create what?
You? Your bodies?
All the bodies. Remember, I teach the Constitution of Man so that you can understand this stuff. All right? The soul uses imagination in order to create all the bodies. So what is that telling you?
That imagination is above us?
It's a creative faculty. Now, of course, Dr. King was talking to an audience that, you know, wasn't that sophisticated in these teachings. But he touched on all the points that I'm going to go over today. And once I go over these points, go back and listen to it in the light of that. Okay? Okay? So, imagination is a creative faculty for mankind and you can't do anything without imagination. You can't form a thought. You know? You can't speak. You can't make any movement. Anybody want to think why this is so? Huh?
Because if you can't imagine it, you can't bring it into being.
Yeah.
Everything happens on a mental level.
Everything happens on a mental level, and then you express it on a physical level. So imagination is the thing that allows us to think, to speak, to move, to do everything. You know, so if you sitting in your house and you say, I gotta go to the store, you're gonna think about going to the store and coming back. That's the only way you're gonna get there. if you don't think about it, if you don't make a conscious thought, and you don't go through some type of intelligent process, guess what? You're not gonna do it. So imagination gives us the ability to think. It actually gives us the ability to think. It actually gives us the ability to do everything. So one of the things in mysticism and yoga is to tap into the power of imagination. Because what we realize is that imagination is that thing that all of us are born with. And if you're not born with this, guess what? You're not a human. You know? So all of us, this is one of our, in fact, this is our only creative faculty. You know, because everything we go to do, we do it through imagination. We think about it first, and then we do it. You know, you cannot walk to the store without processing that journey in your mind, mapping it out where you need to go, you know, without this power of imagination. So in yoga, we're taught to control the imagination, because one of the things that happen with us in imagination is that the contamination within our auric fields, within our mind, comes from our uncontrolled imagination. It comes from our uncontrolled imagination. So what we're taught to do is to control the imagination through various mystic and yogic practices. Okay? You cannot pray without imagination. You cannot do any type of yoga without imagination. Okay? So what is this imagination? We say it's a creative faculty. Essentially what imagination does, if we have controlled imagination, and we take that imagination and bring it into visualization, because imagination brings things into visualization. If you close your eyes now and you sit in the silence and you want to imagine something, then you have created that on the mental plane. That's imagination, bringing about visualization, and sustained visualization of that imagination does what? It empowers that imagination. It empowers the visualization. As long as you keep it into being, it empowers it to the point where at one point it becomes a part of the auric field that's around you. Okay? And then it begins to feed off of your life force until it does what? Until it manifests in your life. Okay? Until it manifests in your life. One of the things that that psychics see, let's say if a person is pregnant, a woman is pregnant, one of the things the psychic begins to see, they see the baby forming within the aura of the person, of that person's aura. They immediately see the babies forming in the person's aura. You know, now the Theosophical Society, they give some long drawn out explanation of why this is happening. It's a simple thing. It's part of that imagination factor. Okay? Yeah.
If you go to a psychic that isn't very well trained, and you're constantly thinking about something and trying to bring it into manifestation, will they see what you're trying to create versus what is actually there?
Yeah, a lot of times that happens. They pick up on it, and
they pick up on what you want versus
what you want, not what really is. So now, of course, in the science of mind type organizations, and all these get rich organizations, they play on this, but they never tell you the secrets. A lot of them don't understand the secrets of it, but they understand that if they if they visualize and think about these things, they can bring things into being. The yogis understand the process. They understand the process. They understand that if they bring about the proper magnetic or let's say creative field, right? Because that's what you're doing. You create a creative field of substance. And then you feed that field until it takes life. All right? Until it takes life. Now this is what imagination do. At the beginning of the day, Dr. King, he speaks about it. I think it's right at the beginning, because I haven't heard it in a while myself. But he talks about it. He says imagination is what? Anyone remember? Is an explosion.
Vibrations.
No one remember?
It's a result of direct intuition or inspiration.
It is that too, but he talks about how it's an explosion on the psychomental planes of existence. All right? That's what he was talking about. All right, because why? When you think something, everybody heard thoughts are what?
Things.
Are things. So when you think something, you bring it into being. Now, depending on your ability and of thought and concentration and contemplation will determine the lifespan of that thought. Depending on your ability of that subject, your understanding of that particular subject will determine also how long it lives. All right, how much substance you put into it. So, just like the businessman that comes up with a plan, and one of the keys to success is to do what with the business? One of the keys to success is the first thing you do is do what?
Create a plan.
A business plan. And why do you do that?
Outline what you're gonna do.
You outline what you're gonna do. You lay out a plan of action, step by step. Because why? You creating this creative field of substance that's going to do what? It's going to map out and it's going to bring into manifestation what you want. So you put all your thought patterns, you build it, you twist it around, you lay it out, you do everything you gotta do to breathe life into that business plan to do what? To manifest it on the physical plane. That's what you're doing. See, the more you think about something, the greater chance of that thing doing what? Manifesting. It was last week, Dr. King said, when you think about something, you're doing what? When he talked about the sponge, anybody remember?
Pushing a pin through a sponge.
Pushing a pin through a sponge. You have a sponge, let's say this is a sponge and you push a pin through it. And he said when you take the pin out, what happens?
It leaves a hole.
It leaves a hole. And then when you put the pin back in there, it's easier the penetration is easier, right? Each time it comes easier and easier and easier and easier. This is what you're doing with this. Okay? And what happens, eventually, you create an entity. In fact, the government recognized a corporation as what?
A living entity.
An entity. So when you go in to do a business, that's what you do. You create this elaborate business plan to create this entity. And you breathe life into it. And that business plan will become, that corporation will become a part of you. It becomes an offspring of you. Because why? Your imagination created it. All the parts begin to fall in place for you. Because why? Because you create this creative field of substance, which becomes this huge vortex field, which is like a magnetic source of power, pulling everything from it and pushing things away from it at the same time. And that's what this becomes. All right? So imagination is our only creative faculty. Whatever you want, you can create. And that's one of the secrets of this tape. And most people don't hear this in the tape. I want you to go back and listen to it. Whatever you want, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, you can do it through positive, creative imagination. All right? So now, don't do something stupid. Don't go and use imagination to bring control, to take control over someone else's property or person. That's black magic. Because it's a thin line. There's power once you realize how it works, you can put it into action. And you can test it. You can go home and you can devise some type of visualization, imagination, some type of imagination visualization practice, and you feed it that energy every night, every single night. And after a while, you will find that, like, let's say you pick a place, a time, of where you want to be and what you want to see and where you want to go. And guess what? In time, you'll find yourself there. You'll find yourself there. And it's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to do. It happens over and over and over again. Okay, so this is the, I know today they got all type of books, all type of groups too. I can't remember, it slips my mind. Oh yeah, The Secret. You know, they talk about it. That's old news.
Positive thinking.
Yeah, you know, this is, you know, they're using techniques of imagination.
And Abraham.
Abraham, yeah.
But the thing is, they all have to visualize his properties and have to be rich.
Yeah, how to be rich, not how to be a good citizen. You know, not how to develop yourself spiritually. Okay? They don't teach you those things. Now, if we go into the mechanics of this, or why this works, right? Why does this work? Imagination is the key to controlling what? Number one, is this the case? Anyone want to guess?
Prana?
Mind. Prana. Right? So if it's the key to controlling mind and prana, then what does it do? Huh?
It's the key to your evolution too.
Yeah, it's a key to your evolution. But let's come down a little basic. What it does what? It controls mind and prana. It's the key to all development. All right? Because why? You said it.
A will.
Because of will, right? It expressed our willpower. In a manifested form. Okay? So if you are doing pranayama exercises, right? Everybody know what pranayama exercises is, right?
Breathing.
Huh? Pranayama is a yogic breathing exercise that you do. If you're doing pranayama exercises to do what? What does pranayama exercises do?
Learn to take control of your vital energy.
Clears the nadi path.
It what?
Clears the nadi path.
It clears the nadi path and it does what?
Teaches you to gain control of prana.
To gain control over prana. When you gain control over prana, you end up clearing the nadi pathways, right? And the nadi pathways is a thing that does what? It allows you to do what? It creates what?
Creates your body.
Not only your bodies, but we want to stay on a mental level. What does it do?
It moves mental energy. Like,
It creates consciousness. It creates levels of consciousness, right? We have the Ida, right? Nadi pathway. And we have the what?
Pingala.
Pingala, right? Nadi pathway. And when they cross, you have what?
The psychic center.
You have consciousness. Now, they have to cross what? 7, 14, and 21 times in order to create these levels of consciousness. So, if you practice in pranayama and you intensify it with visualization, where you actually visualize that this white light or pranic energy is coming down and is being potentized, rushing through the body and going down to the base of the spine, and you're on each side of the spine and coming up Shushana, which is the spine, right? And you're pushing this energy out of particular chakra centers. What are you doing? You're creating a creative field, right? A creative field of substance that's going to do what? It's going to create that presence. It's going to all the energies are going to begin to flow in that manner. And what's going to happen? It's going to clear those nadi pathways. When it clear those nadi pathways, you begin to have what? Clear levels of consciousness, right? So clear levels of consciousness does what? It creates what? It creates psychic power. Which the Hindus say you take control over the Tanmatras, right? And the Tanmatras is the auric field around the body. It's the senses. It's all the senses, the sensory perception. So imagination helps you to bring about concentration, contemplation, and eventually meditation.
So in a sense, you need imagination to do the practices, like pranayama and all that. But at the same time, you're using imagination to control your imagination, in a sense?
Well, imagination, what you mean to control your imagination?
Because, I mean, when you're doing your concentrated practices, aren't you trying to gain control of your imagination, of your mind?
Yeah, you're trying to gain control over your mind. See, imagination is something that's, you miss it. Imagination is what? It's used by the soul. So if it's used by the soul, then imagination is what?
Above mind.
Huh?
It's above mind.
It's above mind. All right. it's one of our creative what? Faculties.
I think imagination has been so debased, it's looked at, it's not because of how we use it so loosely
Yeah.
in society.
I feel like control means to like not let
It's
it
a little
go.
like offside of a question, but I was wondering like when you like clearing your pathways and stuff, and you like let go of the kind of I guess energies that you don't want there. Do you have to like properly like dispose of that energy so it doesn't go where you don't want it to go, like say to other people or anything like that, or does it just like it's supposed to dissipate?
Well, in the process, that's another thing that imagination does. Imagination, because it's a creative faculty, and it's something that we really don't understand. But because it's this creative faculty, when you imagine something and you try to follow the correct parameters of imagination, right? And when it creates this field of substance, that field of substance is created under the framework of karma, and it's going to work within the laws of karma. Okay, so whatever it creates is going to create the necessary lessons that you are to learn from your creation. Okay, so if something's negative in there that you have to learn, guess what? It's going to be a part of the building material.
I'm saying like if when it's coming outside of you and going like I guess
Well,
you
you're not
envision,
going to throw it off. You have to burn it up,
Oh, you gotta-
transmute it into something else, or use it yourself. Remember, we're talking about self-development. Now, if you're talking about throwing negative thoughts off you, when you throw negative thoughts off you, you should burn those thoughts up, because those thoughts will hang on the aura. All right, and your aura will feed off those thoughts. You understand what I'm saying? Let's say you have you get a phone call and someone tell you, oh, so and so been in an accident, and then all of a sudden you think that they are all in the hospital and dismembered, right? That's a negative thought. So that negative thought is going to hang on your aura and it's going to eat away at you. It's going to create a negative rip in your whole aura. So now that type of thought, you pull that thought back into you and you burn it up. Okay, those type of thoughts you don't let, because every thought you have hangs on your aura. It becomes a part of you because you created that thought. And now think about it. If someone if you got a call about a loved one, a friend or whatever, and you had that thought, that's going to be a very intense thought. So it's going to have more life than the daydream that you were just having because you've seen a fly on the wall. See, so it takes on a whole different life form than the thought of a fly on the wall. It's very intense. So that thought can hang on your aura for days, months, years, So you have to pull that type of thought back into you and burn it up. Okay, so the proper way to do that is to imagine these hands coming out of the solar plexus center, pulling that thought back into the body, right? And then imagine a white light or a violet color light coming down through the top of your head and burning that thought up, transmuting that thought into pure energy to be used again in the proper way.
Makes a lot more sense.
All right?
What you said?
Oh, I said that makes a lot more sense than trying to throw it out of you.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't
'cause-
throw it out because it's not going to go. It's not going to go anywhere. It's attached to you forever. Okay? Because you created that. It belongs to you. When we have kids, we can't throw it out. Right? We have to take care of those kids. We have to nurture those kids. So everyone has a clear idea of imagination?
And I'm trying to understand the difference between imagination and visualization. So,
Imagination brings about visualization. imagination creates something.
Mm-hmm.
The visualization sustains that imagination. Okay?
Okay.
And I got a question. Since imagination is above mind, through, it's kind of hard to structure it, but like how, since it's above mind, how do we use it per se? Like how do we take a hold of it to create the visualization? Like, does it come through the bindu, for example? Like how?
Because it is. In other words, see you know, I have to go back. You're trying to think too hard.
Probably.
Let's go back to theosophy. All right? or yeah, theosophy or Hinduism. What is this? What is that? Did I pronounce it right? Did I write it right? Huh?
I think so.
Those aren't the impurity, right?
Is that right?
Verities or chitta?
Chitta
I don't know.
is what? What is chitta?
I forgot.
Universal mind.
Studying this stuff now. It's universal mind, right? So what is universal mind? Huh? Universal mind is where?
Everywhere.
It's everywhere, right? So the type of mind that we're talking about now is what? When you say it's above mind, what type of mind we talking about? No, we talking about
Manas.
He's just saying.
we're talking about manas. Okay? What is manas? Anyone?
The 6 principles of mind.
Huh?
The 6 principles of mind.
No. In a way it is. I don't want to discourage you, but in a way it is, but this is a simpler explanation, okay? What it is
The levels of mind.
no, what it is mind. Remember this, it's gonna help you. Everybody get it?
So mind substance that goes through man.
After it's touched by man, it's configured by.
After it's touched by man, it takes on a different configuration. All right? So that's the difference between, you have this universal mind substance all around you, right? You have this universal mind substance all around you that's pure. That's this great storehouse of power for us, right? Because mind is an energy. Okay? Mind is not locked up in your brain. No, mind is all around you. Mind is the thing that shapes matter. Okay? So you have this universal mind, and then you have this mind that we have contaminated and made our auric substance, created this atmosphere around us, right? And that's the mind that we're addressing right now. The mind has been factored or tainted by man. So the creative principle of imagination is higher than mind or manas. Okay?
So like in that example you used of someone calling you and telling your relative is in the hospital and you visualize them like really badly hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That visualization is coming from manas.
That's coming from uncontrolled mind.
Okay.
That's coming from your own uncontrolled mind.
Thank you.
Okay? You get it?
But we're using imagination to pull it or to create
Yes,
that?
yes, because you use imagination wrong. You know, the same way you may use imagination to go do something evil.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, you know, these are tools, this is energy, this is resource. So it can go good or bad. Alright? So the same way you can take, you can use energy to do something good, you can use energy to do something bad too. So when you know, when you use your imagination to create to do a crime, then it's still imagination. There's nothing wrong with the imagination. It's something wrong with the way you use it. All right. So it's going to create the proper results for you. You may scheme enough to get exactly what you want for the time being, but the reaction of that is always equal, but it's absolutely opposite. So what's coming back to you is not good. All right, not good in your mind, in your criminal mind, but it's good in the overall universal mind, because that level, that equilibrium level, have to be brought about. You know, in science, you know that if I pour water, if I pour water out, what does that water do? Huh? It travels until it finds what? Until it reaches what?
Resistance or something to stop its flow.
No, it keeps traveling. The only reason why it's moving, it's trying to reach the level that it was before. Go back and study that. That's what water does. That's why the water moves around the earth. It seeks the original level. All right. So it just that's part of the law. You know, we started at this very high point, right? Then we fall to this very low point. But what's going to happen? The energy has to come back to the high point. All right.
So I was thinking of the image of the triangle that we used to describe the AUM, and imagination would be that at the top, that first creative aspect, and the preservation part of it would be the visualization, and the transmutative part would be manifestation, or bringing it into reality.
Right. Now, what I want to get into, because I got off track with this. Sorry. Akasa. What is Akasa?
The carrying agent.
Isn't it mind substance also?
Yeah, Akasa,
Like either.
The carrying agent for all the other
it's a carrying agent. Everybody was correct to a certain degree. But if it's the carrying agent, what does that mean?
The preservative force too?
It
Huh?
materializes mindset.
What?
Materializes mindset.
It brings about form. Yeah. And it does what? Someone else said something.
Preserves.
It preserves too. Now, if we take the example of the sun, right? The sun pushes out this Akasa, right? Because Akasa is like one of the main aspects of what? Augustine, you said
Mind substance.
universal mind substance, right? The sun pushes out this Akasa. When the Akasa reaches the earth, it does what?
Wrap yourself around.
It wraps itself around it. And then what happens?
The sky looks blue.
Huh?
The sky looks blue.
The sky looks blue, but also what happens? All the other what?
All the other pranas or mahabhutas,
All the other Mahabhutas or Pranas does what?
it gets preserved within the earth, right?
It travels through Akasa to the earth in order to do what?
Use prayer and everything.
In order to be used. Okay? So, imagination is the thing that does what? It shapes and molds Akasa. Everything is Akasa. Everything is akasa, and everything is molded and formed out of akasa. So this imagination has the power over this akasa. See, that's how powerful it is. And when you bring imagination to the level of concentration, contemplation, then you begin to see how this imagination, how you can create something and give it life and bring it onto any plane of existence you want to bring it onto. Okay, so because why? You learn how to shape and mold akasa. See, you begin to learn what the real periodical chart, you know, not the play periodical chart that scientists play with. You know, because scientists, they rely on pure physical substance, right? With the periodical chart. They're alchemists, but they don't want to call themselves alchemists. But that's all they're doing. They're mixing gases with gases, liquids, and metals and solids, right? They're mixing all these things together to do what? To create all these different forms. But in ancient science, in ancient metaphysical science, they taught us how to do this through what? Through mind. It's the same principle. And imagination is the key. This is the key it's the triggering point, it's the level to turn this stuff on and off. All right? Controlled imagination will allow you to do all these different things. Okay?
So, just out of curiosity, what would be, on the universal level, what would be above mind? Love? Love holds imagination together?
Why are you stuck on that?
I don't know, I'm just curious. I want to know.
Go back and read my book. Okay? And read the Serpent Power book and the Garden of Letters. Okay? Another good book is Nature Final Forces. Then come back and ask some real questions. because you're stuck on this and you're missing the main point.
No, I feel like I'm getting it. I want to go further, but I guess I'm not.
Universal mind.
Take a nap.
Okay.
You have what? What are the four principles? What are the four principles?
Of mind?
Huh? What are the four principles of Shakti?
Love, jnana, knowledge. Love, knowledge, love, and mind. What? It's love.
Love twice.
You said love twice.
All right.
The preservation of force,
Love,
the mind, the universal mind, knowledge or wisdom, and prana. Okay? So, what is the creative force?
mind.
Is it?
Love.
No.
Love is preservative.
Oh, love is
Love is preservative.
What is the creative force?
Knowledge,
Prana, creative force.
Imagination.
More of the creative.
Imagination.
Yeah.
God did what?
Said the words.
Spoke.
And what happened?
Creation came along.
What is creation?
Movement.
Huh?
Movement.
Sound, energy.
It's not working. It's not working.
I do be quiet the rest of the
You said movement, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Shakti is what? Action. Movement. This is the word, right? And Shakti, and the Nata brought forth what? Shakti. That is the creative principle.
Isn't karma too? Isn't
Huh?
karma also action movement?
This is karma. Everything's wrapped into one. Everything came from what? And this came from what?
Shiva.
Shiva. So that's why imagination is what?
The greatest creative act.
Yeah, that's why. Because we're living in God's imagination, in other words. I hate to say that, but but that's what we're doing. But that's the principle, and it works on each level. All right?
No, imagination forming akasha, which is like the framework of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we're utilizing imagination, we're taking akasha, creating the frame of it,
Mm-hmm.
using visualization to preserve that frame.
Mm-hmm.
But do the pranas themselves are drawn into that framework, or we pull the prana to itself?
Yes. It comes to us, through us, and around us.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think about it too deeply now. Don't think about it too deeply.
What do you say God's imagination is limited?
Because it takes on other, it goes into in all these other different directions, and people get the wrong thought of it. Because when you study Greek mythology, that's one of the main things they talk about, right? Anybody study Greek mythology?
Yeah.
Right, that's one of the main things they talk about, right? That we're some imagination of some of some god or gods or whatever. So, but it takes on this different tone, and it takes away the real principle of science away from it. So you got to understand, if I think about a bird, right?
Mm-hmm.
I, the conscious I, don't necessarily have to know all the anatomy of that bird. All right, I've witnessed that bird in living manifestation. So the higher part of me understands that. My subconscious mind understands that. Because I, the soul, working on the conscious level that I'm working on right now, I visualize the bird. Okay? So the bird lives in my what? In my imagination and visualization. But because the witness that I am and the devic laboratory called the subconscious mind understand all the unique specifications for creating that bird, I, the conscious level, don't have to worry about that. Because why? It's created. Because why? I believe in the I am. And see, so you don't have to go into those details, because why? It's going to follow that creative law, that principle. Go back to the Constitution of Man. You always have to go back to it so you can understand it. See, there's many levels of you.
Mm-hmm.
When you do something on this level, don't think that you, basic man, is the only thing operating to make that happen. It's not. It's working on many, many different levels. Okay? So that's where the faith of what? That's where the faith come in at. Because faith is built on works. And those works can be seen as a vessel of understanding, knowing that the divine law is happening. Because why? Because I made one action which caused a series of other actions to happen on many other levels.
You just quoted the Bible.
Well, someone said a butterfly flapping its wings in Australia, right, affects the air currents in the United States. Now, of course, we can't measure that, but logically speaking, it's so. Because why? There's no real thing called space, right? There's no space. So if I push this I'm affecting everything. You know, because all space is filled with something. There's an illusion of space between you and I, right? Because why? Because we can't see on the different octaves, the different levels, right? Mm-hmm. So we ignorantly think that there's space between you and I, but it's not. This room is full of air, you know, which is oxygen, nitrogen, and water, everything. So there's no such thing as space. So every movement you make, you affect. You know, you're making a ripple effect throughout this the atmosphere around the earth. All right. Any questions?
So is that why the yogi said be still?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between me imagining and visualizing a car, and then 5 or 6 years from now I'm able to buy it, or someone else imagining, or master imagining, visualizing a car, then having it appear in front of them?
No, I'm not gonna get into all of that. How that's gonna help you?
It'll save me 5 years saving up for a car. Well, in the lecture tape, he gave the example of a woman who, as a child, she hated going to see her relatives. And so she kept trying to come up with excuses or reasons not to go. Later on in life, that led to her, you know, having a physical impairment, not being able to walk.
So what you want to know?
She imagined.
I mean, he explained that to you, right?
Yeah, he explained that she brought it upon herself.
She brought it upon
sending
herself.
a command to
That's uncontrolled imagination, right? So the reverse of that would be what?
A controlled imagination. Controlled
imagination. Like I said, you can visualize anything. You know, I tell you something about myself. I studied this from childhood. When the Riga Buick came out, and I was crazy about the car. I was just a teenager, 16 years old. So I went down to the car dealership. I said, I'm gonna do some magic here. I'm gonna use my powers to get this car, right? So I went down to the dealership. I got one of the you know, the brochures that talk about the car. You open it up, they show you all the nice vinyl and leather all up inside of it. They tell you all the specifications of the car. So I take this home with me, and I sit up day after day after day after day, visualizing this vehicle. Say, I want this vehicle to come to me. I want this vehicle to come to me. So I'm visualizing, and I'm talking about the Buick. I'm looking at it, you know, and all of a sudden, my father go buy a Buick, but not the one I want. You know, it's a later model Buick. So I get all upset, and I say, I gotta turn this up a little bit. So I go into visualization and concentration and contemplation, and visualize this car. All of a sudden, my mother, who haven't drove in probably since I was like 3 years old, all of a sudden she wants to drive again. So I come home one day, and she got the exact car that I wanted for myself. So I said, okay, this is how it happens, you know. So of course, she's not used to driving, so I'm gonna do all the driving for her, so I got the car. So I got that car, I'm driving her back and forth to work. Now, since it's her car, and she don't like driving on the highway, I had to do all her driving. So I had to take her to work, pick her up, I had to go grocery shopping. I had to do all these other things that I did not want to do because I'm a teenager. I want to go have some fun.
You
But
specify.
you just
wanted the car.
I just wanted the car. So for 3 years straight, I had to slave for my mother. And not only that, the car started falling apart. Brand new car. start falling apart. So I said, this is my karma.
Yes.
So, I mean, be careful about what you ask for. I mean, the exact same car. You know, so I mean, you can do these things. You can go and visualize these things, and you can make it happen for yourself. But be wary about what you ask for. Okay? Be very wary, because what will happen is that it won't come out. Business plan. Be very detailed about what you want.
Ripple effects.
Yeah. Be very detailed, and that's the key. All right.
So I have a question about visualization. So we are told when we visualize it, we're not supposed to visualize the psychic center.
You're not supposed to concentrate on the psychic center.
You can visualize but not concentrate on it.
You can send something through it real quick, but not to do deep concentration on it, unless you're very, very good, unless you had a very high degree of contemplation or meditation.
So in Vivekananda's Raja Yoga,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he talks about, you know, how you push the prana down
Mm-hmm.
to the Mudra,
The base.
the base, yeah.
Mhm.
And then, so when you're doing that, I usually visualize that just as a quick
Mhm.
come down, boom, and then visualize it coming out. Bengala,
Mhm.
you know, the second breathing practice.
Mhm. Well, you taking up one side of the body.
Yeah. I used to also not concentrate on it, but just visualize it.
Yeah. Now there's 2 points that you can do some slight concentration on, but do not do this unless someone teach you how to do it. When you're taking the prana down to the base of the spine, you can concentrate on pushing the prana either around to one side of Pingala or Ida, or pushing the prana through Shushunda. All right? And another one where you take the prana and you bring the prana out of the heart chakra or the Christ chakra. All right? Now, doing it through the heart chakra, you don't want to have deep concentration, but you can concentrate on the heart chakra to a certain degree, okay? But not prolonged concentration, all right? But you have to be taught how to do it, okay?
Concentrating on the centers is better than the actual chakra. It's
What?
safer. Like when we're concentrating and sending energy out through the heart center, we do it a few inches in front of the heart chakra. And that's safer than.
Well, there's a key. I'm saying you bringing something through,
Right.
okay? The proper way, but don't take this as you've been taught. The proper way to concentrate on any psychic center is, I can't remember the exact Sanskrit word for it, but what it does, you create a mala or symbol, and you place it 6 inches in front of each chakra, and that's how you concentrate on the chakra. But not in the body, not in the spine, you know, okay? That's a key to unlocking the chakras.
So you visualize a mala, a symbol,
A symbol, yeah.
and with 6 inches.
And you hold it 6 inches in front of that chakra. And there's different type of designs for each one. And what it does, it acts as a key to unlock the flow of energy or unlock that chakra. You know, at least to the degree to enhance the flow of Ida and Pingala through that chakra. Okay? Because you have to enhance the flow of Ida and Pingala so that it can charge the brain in a way where it synchronizes the brain or bring about some type of level of some type of equilibrium level in the brain in order to create the right magnetic pull in order to begin to pull the energy through Shushunda. And that's like Tantra, deep Tantra yoga.
Those are in serpent power, right?
Huh?
Those are in serpent power?
What?
The mandalas?
No. Okay, see if I went over it. Any other questions?
Yeah, Dr. King also mentioned samyamas, and how if a yogi wants to do a samyama on an elephant, they would, to get the strength of the elephant, they would visualize the elephant, and particularly that attribute to the elephant, and then pull that visualization into them. And they weren't actually taking anything from the elephant, but they're just copying that attribute onto their.
Well, they're not asking. I don't think he said visualize the elephant, but what they mean is you go do a samyama on the elephant, right? So, in other words, you'll go somewhere where there's an elephant, and you will copy the specifications of that elephant in terms of the energy flow of that elephant, right? And then you'll reproduce that energy flow within your auric structure in order to have great strength, like the elephant have great strength. So that's what he meant by that. In fact, that's in Raja Yoga. That's in Swami Vivekananda's book, Raja Yoga.
So you wanted to inhabit the attributes of a great master. Could you take a picture of that master and kind of do a samyama on that?
Probably could do that. Or just visualize as much as you know about that particular master, and you visualize that, and you bring those traits within yourself. You try to enhance those same traits within you. That's what most students do anyway.
In the tape, Dr. King was saying when sending healing to a friend, to visualize them as perfectly normal, healthy, and then see them charged with a white light, and never see them with the condition that they have, but see them as perfectly normal and healthy, and then see them charged with white light, and then visualize them getting up and walking around.
Yeah, you don't want to, if someone's sick, you don't want to create a imagination, a visualization of that person's hopping around or bending over or sick, or you don't want to do that, because when you create that image is energy, and that's the energy you're going to send to that person. So you want to create a healthy image in your mind, so that the energy that you're pulling down and modifying through you to go to that person can have a vibrant type quality to it. So that's why you want to think of that person in a positive fashion. All right? Because whatever you think, it is there. It's there. And just the easiest way, I tell people, the easiest way to figure this out is go get a music tape or a CD that was very close to you at a time when you was going through something. And then when that sound turns on, it transports you back, and whatever emotions you had at that time, because you're thinking about them, you feel them. So that lets you know that when you think about something, it's real. It's real.
It stays in you.
Huh?
It stays in you.
Yes, it's real. Okay, it's the like we said, the samskaras. I think I touched on everything. Anybody see anything I didn't touch on? There's no more questions, we can close out.
In the tape, you gave a pranayama practice. Before you breathe, you spend a few minutes visualizing the prana just in front of you being charged up.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Well, he didn't really give that, we talked about it. Yeah.
that's a visualization to enhance the practice? Like,
Yeah, that's a yoga practice. That's an actual yoga practice. So any other questions? If there's no other questions, we can close out.